Hello and welcome to this video where we're going to go hunting for one of the UK's most notorious ghosts of the road. I'm going to explain what this is all about. I'm going to give you the backstory as to how this person became this ghost, and then we're going to go and hit the road and get hunting for this spirit. I did want to film all of this on the road, but I'm only going to have a short time there, so I thought I'd film this introduction at home, but don't worry, there'll be lots of driving action coming soon. So this is the story of hairy hands. And you might be thinking, hairy hands? What's all that about? Well, what's supposed to happen is that when you go driving on this road in the southwest of England, you're driving along with your hands on the steering wheel like this, and people say they have felt two big hairy hands clamp on top of their hands, and it's then thrown them off the road, and at least one person has been killed because of this. Now, there are many reports of this happening over the last 100 years. I think the reports started around the 1920s, and some of them are from very credible people. So there was one from an army officer. Now, army officers are quite, military trained, straight-minded, not the kind of people who you would expect to believe in things like the paranormal, perhaps. One man was a doctor, and another man was an author, amongst many more. And I believe one of them, and I think he was the author, actually didn't want people to know this has happened to him until after he died. So he wrote it down, but he didn't want to be ridiculed. And that, to me, adds a lot of credence to it, because you think, well, that means a lot, the fact he wanted it kept a secret until after he died. But what is this story all about? Well, let's have a look at the backstory of where these hairy hands are said to come from. Many years ago, this was in the 1800s, there was a gunpowder mill on this road in Devon in the UK. It's in the very southwest of the UK. And the story goes that there was a blacksmith who worked there who had big, strong, hairy hands because he was a blacksmith, so he was really strong, he used his hands a lot. One day he was said to have had a message that one of his relatives had died and left him a fortune, which meant he no longer had to work. So he went down the pub to celebrate and got drunk. The next day, when he was still in a bit of this drunken stupor, he went to work, but because he was still a bit drunk, he made a big mistake. Now, this building contained lots of gunpowder, and the floor was made of stone, so all of the workers had to wear special, I think they were like rope-soled plimsolls, I think, so that when they walked, it didn't create any sparks, because of course you don't want sparks in a gunpowder factory. But because he was still a bit drunk, he forgot that, and he walked into this place wearing hobnailed boots, so he still had a lot of these metal nails in his boots. And the story goes he was going to pick up his stuff, like his last day of work, and as he walked in, he walked on the floor, it created an explosion, and he was blown to pieces, and all that was left of him were his hairy hands. So that's apparently where this comes from. It's this blacksmith who, for whatever reason, is enjoying hurting and killing people on this road to this day. So we are going to get driving soon. I'm filming this just a few days before I hit the road, and there are 4 reasons why I think I'm perfectly placed to investigate this. First of all, I've been a driving instructor for over 20 years, so I'm all about safe driving. I've done advanced driving, defensive driving courses, so it's going to be very interesting to see what I think of this road in terms of, can I see any reasons why people are crashing on this road? Because of course, some people say it's a ghost of hairy hands, but others say it's just people coming out of pubs drunk and driving too fast who want a convenient excuse to give their insurance company. So I'm in a good place, I'm well placed to decide which one of those it is based on my experience of being a driving instructor. Secondly, I'm also a hypnotist, so I understand how the mind works. If you don't normally watch my videos, I work online as a hypnotherapist, helping people overcome the fear of driving. So I understand things like, sometimes it involves hallucinations. I've had people hallucinating in sessions. It's quite common with hypnosis. So I've got all those skills to help me out as well. Thirdly, I am trained in martial arts. So if the hairy hands do grip me, I am better placed than most to get them off because I understand things like leverage points. And one of my favourite classes in martial arts was the wonderfully named limb destruction class, where you learn how to destroy people's limbs. If they attack you, if they grab you and grip you, you learn how to lever them off and break the fingers and hands and whatever. Lovely. And lastly, but not least, number 4, this blacksmith, people have researched who he was, and there are 3 popular names that come up. One of the names, and one of the most commonly believed, is Mr. Dodd, which is my name, if you don't know. My name's Dodd. So maybe we're even related, and I have always had quite hairy arms and hands without getting too personal. So I think no one in the world is better placed than me to go and investigate this. So enough talking, let's go and hit the road. I'm going to tell you a few things about my car before we begin, maybe, because I'm filming this in advance. But let's go and hit the road. So I'm going to travel about 200 miles southwest of where I am now to the beautiful Devon, and it takes place around Dartmoor, which those of you who are into things like Sherlock Holmes may know, like the Hound of the Baskervilles or that kind of thing. It's all set around that area, roughly. So it's a very remote area. But enough talking, let's go and hit the road, and I'll see you when I'm there. So this is where I'm staying. It's quite a nice hotel actually. It's a Travelodge, but got my sandwiches. Always bring some sandwiches for an investigation. And my room, quite a big room actually, big double bed. Nice bit of space there. And the car park. Which car's mine, can you guess? And you can see just about, there is that building there. If you can see my finger, can you? Where's my finger? There it is. That building there, you can't really see from here, but it's a Burger King, Subway and Greggs, and there is a Shell garage for fuel just, where's my finger gone again? Just there, the other side of the trees. So you can fill up with food and fuel, fill up yourself and your vehicle. So if you do want to come and visit this like I am, I thoroughly recommend this Travelodge. This is Sowerton Down, I think it is, maybe just Sowerton, but I think it's Sowerton Down in Oakhampton. Very nice stuff, very friendly. So yeah, let's go and get on with the investigation. Hello, so I'm here in Devon. I've made the trip and I'm currently parked up just under 2 miles away from the road we'll be investigating. So we are going to get driving very soon, but just a few things about the car, like I mentioned, so you know what's going on. First of all, I don't know if you can tell from the interior camera, but it's very foggy. And I've had this car over 5 years, and this is only about the 3rd time I've ever had to have the fog lights on. So I just wanted to mention briefly, all of the aids are turned off. So for example, the lane assist, which if you don't know, lane assist can help you steer and stay on the road, and it can make the steering wheel feel a bit funny, which is not what we want for this video, is it? Because we want to see if anything happens. Also, I just want to mention that this car might beep and that tells you you're speeding, but I'm not. I had it just coming down the road where this goes a bit funny. It says it's 10 miles an hour when it's 40. So if you do hear a beeping, I'm not speeding. I think the fog and whatever, it struggles to see the signs and all that kind of thing. And I'll tell you more about the car later on, because this is the first investigation we're going to do of 3. Anyway, so let's turn on. I've got everything set up. Wipers are on, lights are on, and I'm just parked up in this little lay-by area. So we're going to drive about 2 miles along the road. And this, as I say, is part 1 of the investigation. But I've waited 6 years to do this, and you'll see why later in the video. So you're probably just watching the front camera and the interior camera now. I have got 3 cameras in the car. I've got front, rear and interior. I've also got 3 microphones, 3 at the front, 1 at the back. One of them is my lapel mic. So on the right hand side, which you won't see and I can't see because it's all foggy, there is Dartmoor prison. And if you know anything about this area, if you've read any stories like Ian Sherlock Holmes or whatever, there's always this thing about the escaped prisoners from Dartmoor, strangers lost on Dartmoor, and there's always an escaped prisoner from Dartmoor prison on the loose. So we're currently about just over a mile away from the road where this thing happens. So I'm going to keep talking throughout this video just for a bit of entertainment. I may keep quiet now and then just so you can get the atmosphere. But yeah, it is very atmospheric. It's it's very, very foggy, rainy. It's not cold, it's 15 degrees. Just gone down to 15 from 16. So it's fairly warm. And going over a cattle grid there, in case you wonder what that is, that noise. There's lots of sheep around here. And I'm just going to carry on, just under a mile to go, and then we'll be there. So the drive on the way here was great to the hotel. From the hotel it got a little bit dodgier, I have to say, and I can see why people have trouble on these roads, especially when someone is driving right on my bumper like the one behind us. Unbelievably, even in the rain and fog, people still tailgate you. But anyway, I'll have to watch out for those as well. So I'm going straight on for quite a bit, and there's a cattle grid again, in case you hear a rumbling sound like that. That's just a cattle grid. I'm going to turn off this road soon, which will be good. But I can see why people crash around here, especially driving like the one behind us, because it's very bendy, and even for an experienced driver like me it's fun, but I can see why people have trouble. You do have to be alert. That road on the right, by the way, is that's part of the road, because the road I'm on now is B3357, and this cuts the main road that we're going on in 2. So that on the right, we're going to be investigating there tomorrow, and tomorrow is a very special day, as you'll see why. So I'm going to turn off, and hopefully this car will just go the other way and they won't be on the back of us all the way along this road. So here we are, folks, this is it, the B3212. And I'm going left, good, that car's going the other way, at least they're not signalling. Yeah, good, they've gone the other way. So this is it, folks, this is the road where Hairy Hans is said to haunt. So it's 40 miles an hour, I was doing 40 about there, the car behind wanted to do about 60. Collision hotspot, have you been seen? Well, yeah, my lights are on, the fog is not that bad, I need the fog lights on. The visibility is not below 100 metres, and it's not so much a driving lesson video, but I am a driving instructor, remember, and a therapist. So it's very windy, very bendy. Yeah, I can see why people would have trouble here. I can see why it's a 40 limit. I'm going to drop to 3rd. I can see ahead. It will be different on the camera, because what a camera shows is a lot different to what I can see. It says we've got some roadworks coming up. Was it 400 yards? Yep, just up there. So I'm checking around. Okay, it's not a driving lesson video, but it's just a habit of mine to commentate as I'm driving. I'm going to clear this window because it's going to be rained on. So yeah, it's quite bendy. We're going to travel about 3.5 miles from here. It's about 4 miles of this stretch. And the road that goes the other way, we'll be going on that tomorrow. about 4 miles the other way. But this is actually the road where the gunpowder mill is, because it's still there, it's in ruins. It's somewhere along here now. I was going to go and visit it, but I haven't got much time, and with the weather being this bad, I thought I'll skip over that because it's just a ruin. There's a few stones in the field of where it used to be. It's somewhere around here. There's a place you can go and visit. It's quite strange though, because there's a sign saying, what's it say? Something like, please don't park and walk, as in it's just not business only. And then there's another sign saying ruins this way, like you can walk, it says walk to the ruins this way. So it kind of contradicts itself a bit. I will put a map in the link in the description. The reason I'm not putting it in this video is because I run a business. You have to be careful using Google Maps for business reasons, because you're only allowed to use it for entertainment and education or whatever. And if you're a business, you have to email Google and get permission to use it. I didn't want to go through all that hassle and risk all the trouble of copyrights and whatever. There is pottery 300 yards ahead. That's the place I was talking about. Looks like someone's camping there on the left. And there will be a lot of information in the description of this video, so please do check that out. There's so much to say about this place, links to other videos. There it is, the powder mills. That's where he used to work, apparently, up there. So we're going to carry on for about another 2.5 miles. And yeah, it's very barren around here. No one behind, no one ahead. There's a few cows. I think the cows, sorry, I'm not an expert on wildlife. It's a very open road, it's quite a nice road. There's a lorry behind me quite a way back. It's going to drop to third for this hill, it's quite steep. Stick to the limit. So yeah, the next investigation I'll do, this isn't finished yet, but just so you know, later today I'm going to come back and do this in the night time. And there was some very dodgy roads on the way here, which I might take a different route to avoid on the way here tonight. I'll put them on the screen. I might have to do another video because there's so much footage I've got from this. But there was some very dodgy roads. They're like the ones I normally drive by me, to be fair, because although I live in Birmingham, I live on the very edge of Birmingham, so I don't really go into the city much at all. And if you've watched any of my therapy videos, you'll have seen the very narrow roads that I normally drive on. Well, these are just the same, really. So yeah, it's looking quite a nice road, quite straight. This is where people say they've been thrown off into a ditch. You can see why, because it's quite bendy. You may not come across on a video the fisheye lens of the dash cams and the rain and everything. It does distort where you actually see. Speed and distance cannot be as easily ascertained from those. So we carry on about another 1.5 miles. And this is only one part of the road. Like I say, this is one of the main places people say that it's happened. As I put my hand back on the wheel. But yeah, this is where people say it's happened. But I'm just driving along and it all looks pretty good. It's nothing feels strange, it's just a normal everyday. It wasn't this bad on the way, but it's the way this place is, Dartmoor. It's very often like this. It's whenever you see on films or in books, it's always raining and thunderstorms and fog. It's like San Francisco in a way, the way there always seems to be fog there. Although people say it's not fog, though, it's something else. Anyway, there's only a mile to go till we get to the first bit where I'm going to turn around, because I was going to drive the whole length of this road from start to finish, but it takes 57 minutes according to the sat-nav, and people have only reported things happening here in this part, and another part we'll be going to tomorrow. This is Post Bridge, so we've gone from a place called Two Bridges to this place, Post Bridge. So this is the main spot for hairy hands. There's a bridge, narrow. There's a really nice place I wanted to visit here, but I don't think it'll be nice today. There's a beautiful river with a stone bridge over it, and you can see people. It's over here on the right. I'll put links again in the description. You can see people climbing over this bridge. It looks really nice. Maybe not today, when in this weather. It's going to heat the front window up. So yeah, that's one of the main drags of the road. So I am going to go and turn around. There's a nice pub there that East Dart Inn. I'm going to go and turn the car around and I'll come back the other way and see what happens going that way. So bear with me, I'll be back in a moment when I'll turn the car around. It's a little bit further on actually where I'm going, so just remember where this place is. It's somewhere around here. There's a place I could turn. Yeah, there's this B&B on the right. I remember this, I've looked it up, I planned it all. Bed and breakfast there. There's an ambulance in there on Google Maps. But anyway, I'll be back in a moment and let's go back and drive the other way in search of hairy hands. Okay, so I'm back and we're now driving the other way back towards Two Bridges. So we're going from Post Bridge to Two Bridges. And if you want to stay and investigate this place yourself, there's plenty of places here and there. There's a very nice hotel at the end of this road called the Two Bridges. It's quite an expensive one. I was going to stay there in a historic room, but they have these really old-fashioned rooms like themed on highwaymen or something. But even though I'm not tight and I'm not cheap, I thought I'm going to stay at the Travelodge because it's £100 a night less and it just means driving 20 minutes here. But yeah, the Travelodge I'm staying at is Sowerton Cross. I did say Sowerton Downs earlier, but I'm not familiar with this area, so it's Sowerton Cross. So I'm going to go over this bridge and we're following another 3.5 miles back, and I'm going to go back a different way, see if I can find a better way. And in case you wonder why I'm not talking much about this thing, I did used to run a paranormal investigation company, if you didn't know, for a very short time. And I didn't do many investigations, but I found it's better if things happen when you're not focusing on, don't sit around, oh, is it going to happen, is it going to happen? Just do things naturally and normally and you've got more chance of seeing stuff, I think. And just out of interest, do I believe in ghosts? Yes, because I've seen one. When I was a kid I saw one. For me it's not do they exist, it's what are they. I don't so much believe they're spirits of the undead coming back to haunt you. I don't believe that. To me it's some kind of hypnosis trick, because I'm a hypnotist, remember. It's something to do with the mind, some kind of hallucination, something we don't understand about energy. I don't really go for the whole spirits of the dead and all that. I might be wrong, but you know, that's just my thoughts. They do exist. I've seen one in plain daylight in front of me, and I made a video 6 years ago, I think it was, talking about that and other things that have happened in my life that are quite weird. I actually remastered that video only a few days ago before I knew I was going to come and do this. So I might release that one as well. Let me know if you want to see that. It's me talking about strange things that have happened in my life. There's someone's windscreen wiper hanging upside down on the back of the car there. It's quite strange. So yeah, it doesn't feel weird. It doesn't feel odd. I think it's one of those things, if you didn't know the story, you'd probably be driving down here thinking, so what? You know, it's not. It's like a lot of things. And for people who say, oh, it didn't happen, that means it's rubbish. It's a bit like if you go knock on someone's front door and they don't answer, it doesn't mean they don't live there. You can't expect to have it happen every time. Imagine if every single car that came down here was thrown off the road and there were thousands of cars in these malls piled up. Do you think the police and the government would just let that happen? It's not going to happen to everyone. You know, people say, I stayed in this room and it didn't happen, the ghost wasn't there. It's not always going to happen. But I don't feel anything odd. I feel absolutely fine, considering I've driven, this is about the 4th hour I've been driving today. I've paced myself well. I don't feel anything strange at all. So we're going to head back to the end of the road, which is 1.9 miles away. I've got it all set up on my sat nav just to make it easier because I don't really know where I am. And yeah, so far so good. It's quite warm still. I've got the blower on low because it's to keep the windows clear. So this is on the right, the old gunpowder mill. There's not much there, like I say, it's just a few ruins. You can't really see anything. And there's a few new houses and businesses just in front of where it used to be. You can imagine in the old days, about 200 years ago, this would have been not that much different, to be fair. Probably didn't have paint down the middle of the road, but doesn't look much different to how it would have back then, I would imagine. There is a story about someone who went camping around here and encountered a ghost in a camper van. And it's not just cars, it's bikes. Apparently cyclists have been thrown off. I don't know what this thing's got against cars, because cars didn't even exist back when this person is supposed to have lived. But there you go. So we've got 1 mile left to go. But yeah, so far so good. I just want to go back to the hotel on the main road, because this sat-nav took me down a road which may be like a minute faster, but it's not, because it was so narrow and bendy. I don't really fancy going down there at night, because it's probably easier at night. You can use your lights to see better, to be seen better as well. But yeah, I think I'd rather go on the main the main road, thanks. And yeah, I will have other videos coming soon about things like sat-navs and whatever, just so you know. So I'm driving along still, 0.9 miles to go. There's a car way behind. There's a caravan thing, camper van, whatever, way ahead. So far it just feels absolutely fine. Nothing unusual, nothing untoward. All looks good. Got some more roadworks, these are some ones that we had on the way there. So yeah, all good. And like I said, we'll come back here this evening and we'll see what it's like in the dark. It's probably going to look quite different. There aren't any lights down here at all. So I just wanted to come and do a quick recce in the daytime. Not that it really looks like daytime. It's more like night time now. But it's currently 1:47. So it was about, I don't know, 1:40 when I started filming this. 1:40 PM. So yeah, we carry on towards the end of the road. I wonder how many people are coming up and down here thinking about this ghost. There's a bike on the right. I don't really fancy being on the bike ever, but in this weather especially not. Nothing against bikes, I just don't really get the appeal of being a projectile. I never really fancied that, but I do respect people who ride them, because it does take a lot of skill. Stop choking myself. That's not heavy hands, that's me choking. It does take a lot of skill to ride a bike. So I'm going to go right. This caravan is very unsure where they're going. It's got a registration, looks like a monster, but it's not. So anyway, that's the first pass of the B3212, I think it is. This is quite a bad turn, so I'm going to angle and go. So yeah, I'm going to go back to my hotel. I'm going to have a shower, watch some funny cat videos, and I'll be back here in about 4 or 5 hours time. It gets dark. They're going into the pub there, not the pub, there's a hotel, the Two Bridges Hotel on the left there. Very nice looking place, got some great reviews. So I'm going back to the hotel, and I will see you again when I'll probably do it when it's getting dark. I want to try and do it when it's kind of not pitch black but getting dark. I know these cameras can struggle in the dark, but I've done all I can to get them, as much light in the lens as I can. That's the road we're going down tomorrow, that one over there towards Princetown, and that is really remote. It's even more remote. I'm just going to pull in here so I don't want to around, so I'm okay for a quick pull over. That's even more remote than where I came today. So hope you've enjoyed that. I'm going to turn this camera off now, and I'll get back to the hotel, and I'll see you again in a few seconds for you and a few hours for me. Hi everyone, so here I am back. It's just coming up to 6:20 in the evening, afternoon, whatever, and it's not fully dark, but this is what I wanted, so it's dark enough so you can see, hopefully. I know the video might be quite grainy, the interior view. Sorry about that, I'm doing the best I can with the cameras I've got. I was going to get my new cameras, just turning the sat-nav sound off. I was going to get my new cameras for this trip, but I didn't want to risk having new cameras and stuff going wrong and all that. I just wanted to stick to my old faithful cameras, so that's what I did. Just going to turn this up a bit to clear the window a bit on that side. So I'm going to go and drive the same bit of road again. If I did it in the pitch black, you wouldn't see a thing. I did want it to be black, and it will be quite dark by the time we come back. But yeah, I'm going to do this again today, and I've planned a special route for tomorrow, so I won't spoil all the surprise, but tomorrow I'm going to show you a bit of Dartmoor prison. We're going to drive past there. I'm going to go somewhere different. It's a very special day tomorrow. I'll tell you why tomorrow, and you'll see why I've been waiting 6 years to make this video. So yeah, we're about 0.7 miles away from the Hairy Hands Road. If it was pitch black, it wouldn't look much different to this, believe me. It's pretty much black now. I've just made a video about driving safely in these conditions. And again, the beeping, if you haven't watched that video, it won't be out yet probably. The beeping is various things the car's telling me about speed and position and whatever speed limits coming up. Cattle grid. I'm going to come down to 30, and it's not a driving lesson video. I'm switching from a driving lesson video to a ghost video. Then I'll be doing a hypnosis video. So bear with me. 2 bridges, we're here again. And lovely river ahead. I'm going to have to come back here. I am going to come back and stay in this hotel, you know, the 2 bridges. Lovely place. I could stay longer now because I've got a few days off. I'm going to work for myself, so it's up to me when I work. But I definitely want to stay there. I'm going to come and have a night there at least, and have a whole day walking around this area. That would be nice. Might be good to do a meet-up. If anyone watches this video and likes it, we'll do a big meet-up. And all come around here and have a big ghost hunt, whatever. So I'm going left here on this road. This is the road again, the B3212. And here we are back on the Hairy Hands Road. Very steep, I'm putting my foot down. And it's surprisingly steep. So it is quite dark. It would have been nice if it was darker, but you're going to struggle to see me anyway. Let's see if that camera's still there. Not the camera. The camper is still there from before. I just did a video, like I say, about you wouldn't want to break down here. What a bad place to break down. But so we've never told you before is the name of this car. I don't know what's the name of cars, but this car is called Defiance. Does anyone know why it's called Defiance? And I'll say that again because I'm laughing and I'm trying to concentrate on the road. I am concentrating on the road. So this car is called Defiance. Any ideas why it's called Defiance? And I call it D. So, like I say, come on D. Don't break down now. So, I'm just going to turn the fog lights off. So I'm concentrating on the road, but I'm concentrating on what's going on, entertaining you, thinking about what I can say, and also watching out for the ghost of Hairy Hands throwing me off the road. So excuse me if I'm having to prioritise my driving, but I've got some killer ghost out to get me. I wonder what the insurance companies would say if I was filming like this, and imagine if they actually saw the hands appear, and you could see, because you do see them by the way, you don't just feel them, they're visible. So people say they see them on the wheel like that. If you actually saw them and they got thrown off the road, what would the insurers say about that, I wonder? Interesting one. Just watching a video earlier today about how apparently electric cars are getting hard to insure. I don't want to go off topic, but apparently if you got an electric car, you can't get insured. When I was at the services earlier, there were people queuing for the charging points. Only half of them were open. And I thought, imagine having to sit and wait half an hour for someone else to charge theirs, then you've got to wait half hour while yours charges. Anyway, this is not about electric cars. That camper van I think had gone. I think he was back there earlier. So yeah, it is quite dark. It's not quite pitch black. By the time I come back the other way, it will be. I'm going the same way as before. I will come back here. If you like this video, do please like it. Leave a comment, let me know. I'd love to come back here. I did plan this video 6 years ago, as I'll explain tomorrow. However, I think the camper van was there before. I could have stayed for longer. I actually know someone who lives not far from me. They were going to come and meet me and do this with me, but they weren't free, which was a shame. So maybe I'll come back and do this again and you'll get to see them. That'll be quite interesting. I might even get the train down and they can drive us around because they only live down the road, so let me know if you'd like to see that. I love to do like a longer drive up here, all up and down. I was going to stay in the Two Bridges Hotel, but like I say, it was quite booked up, and it's October, so yeah, it'd be nice to come around here and stay in the summer. I saw some people out walking earlier, with like professional walking, like the hiking sticks they have with the points on the end, and they were walking around here, and I thought they must be tough walkers. I love walking. I go walking everywhere. I love getting my waterproofs on and walking, but it's a bit different to Birmingham. I'm very fortunate. I live right by a nature reserve, by some woods, and there's just woods and weirs and forests, and it's beautiful. I go for walks. I've lived there for years, and I still haven't explored all the woods. But this is real, like woodland here. Imagine what this was like a few hundred years ago, the highwaymen. I can say highwaymen because they were highwaymen, not highway people or women. They were highwaymen back then. I know people don't like saying things, I don't know, but that's what they were. I don't know if Dick Turpin ever came around here, but this was one of the main routes from, things were smuggled in Cornwall, and they used to bring them along here to London. You've probably heard of London, because people watch my videos from all over. So I've got 1.5 miles left to go. I'm the only person on the road, or the only living person on the road, that is. And yeah, still feels nice and good. I've got the heater on. Not much, it's still 14 degrees, quite warm. And I've got my t-shirt on, the white t-shirt, so I might show up a bit better on the camera. But I have got some warm stuff in the boot, or the trunk, if you're American. Because Americans say trunk, we call it boot. It's quite funny working with so many Americans online when I do my hypnotherapy work. I help people overcome the fear of driving. And there's so many different phrases. I'd love to do a video on that, about the funny language problems there's been, where they say one word and I think what they're talking about. And I say one word and they say, what's that? They know what I'm saying, but they don't know what it means, because it means different. It's so funny, the different words we use for driving, like trunk and boot and bonnet and hood. Anyway, so it's going to keep heating the front window. I'm really glad I've got that, because it keeps fogging up a bit. Post bridge, please drive slowly. I never like that sign because it gives the wrong idea. Drive slowly, should say drive safely. This is our lovely bridge again. It's not pitch black, but it is quite dark. I'd say about another half hour it'll be pitch black. I still feel fine, don't feel anything weird or anything spooky happening. I've been driving for about 4.5, 5 hours now, not continuously. I've had a rest for a few hours, but I still feel fine. I feel very fresh. Nice to stay in this pub. I'd love to come and stay around here. The only thing with me is I tend to get bored quite easily if I'm not doing something. I don't like sitting around doing nothing. I've got to be active. I suppose I could come and walk around here. But yeah, so tomorrow I may be driving further on this road, so I'm going to turn around again in a moment. But I might probably going to go back this way. I'm going to come out of the hotel in the morning and I'm going to drive a different bit on this bit, and I'll probably just head back along this road. So I'll be driving most of the way, and I'll probably make another driving lesson video or something about that. So I'm going to turn around and we'll go back and see if we can spot hairy hands the other way. And I don't know, because maybe in the video you might be seeing these hairy hands behind me giving me the finger or something. I don't know. I don't know till I get back and look at the video. So I'm going to turn around and I'll see you again in a moment. Okay, so I'm back. I'm going the other way. I'm going to take my time. I'm just going to cruise like 30s to 40 zone. There's no one around, so I'm just going to cruise. One funny thing I noticed, not here but when I'm at my hotel, is I actually got a full signal. I'm with EE, the phone company called EE in the UK, which is it everyone, everywhere or something? It used to be called Orange, which one of my American friends found quite funny. But yeah, I got a full strength signal. You know, I said I was going to go and watch those funny cat videos. I actually watched an episode of EastEnders, and I watched the whole thing in HD on my phone, not when I was driving, and it was brilliant. Got a great signal. Anyway, I know people might be saying, oh, why are you talking about this stuff? I can't just talk about the ghosts, because I've done that already in the intro, and I'll put links in the description to some brilliant videos that talk more about that. there's not much to say apart from it's these hands that appear, and it's like you're supposed to be gripped by these hands. But yeah, like I say, it's not going to happen to everyone. Is it real or not? Is it just one of those myths? Or, you know, I'd love to go and visit. I'm going to go back there. You know what? I'm going to make it a target. Next summer 2024, I'm going to that bridge and I'm going to stand on it and I'm going to film a video. I'm making myself a target. Sometime June to August next year, I'm going to come and stay in one of these places. I'm going to go to park there. I think you can park in the lay-by opposite the pub. I'll have to check. I suppose not going to be parking wardens around here, is there? But yeah, do park responsibly. Don't just dump your car anywhere. But I'm going to go there. I'm going to get a video of me standing on that bridge, and I'll say, hey, remember the time in October I was driving that road? I'm going to do it because I'm going to Cornwall next year. This is on the way. I'll probably actually stop here for a day or a night or two, and then go down to Cornwall. Cornwall, if you don't know, is the very southwest of England. It's my favourite place, maybe on earth, definitely in England. It's beautiful. It's just beaches, surfing. I don't surf, but I surf the internet. I don't surf in the sea. Now it is getting dark now. It's pretty much, I'd say, almost fully dark. Not quite, but if it was fully dark, you wouldn't see a thing. At least now you've probably seen something. And I'll have my new cameras next time I come here. I'll have, I won't tell you what I'm getting yet, but I'm getting these very good in the dark. I've seen them, and I might even put one on the roof of the car because I've got very strong suction cups. They can go up to 120 miles an hour without coming off, and you'll get a beautiful view. I'm going to get a couple of those cameras, maybe 3. And yeah, this is just like a turbo tour. I just had a bit of spare time. I thought I'd come down here. And especially with tomorrow, pothole coming up there, go around that. Notice I checked my mirror for anyone passing, there's no one around. There's a reason I came here today, because of tomorrow, which is special. You'll see why when it's tomorrow. I will tell you. I might be a bit sore in the morning after all this driving, but I'm going to film what will probably be the longest investigation of this. It'll be daytime, but I'm going to be driving a long way down this road and popping out on the A38 and going up home. And I know if you're watching this from America, a lot of people laugh in America. To me, this is a long way. So, wow, I've come 180 miles away from home. You know, if you drive much further, you go off the country, off the edge of the country. And people in America say, I'm driving 2,000 miles from New York to San Francisco, whatever, to Los Angeles or whatever. How can you do that? 2,000 miles. I mean, I've done about, what have I done today? 282 miles today, nearly 300 miles. And I'm not tired, but there's no way. These people say I've got driving anxiety because when I drive more than 10 hours, someone said to me, when I drive more than 10 hours in a row, I get tired. Well, no wonder. Have a break. Yes, I'm sorry, no, this is not, if you're, you know, a strict paranormal investigator, you might want me to talk about the ghost, whatever more. I'm just talking about what I can, you know, to give you something to listen to. If I just keep quiet for a moment now, I will. But it's a bit boring, but I'll keep quiet for 30 seconds or so. Just so you can soak up the ambience. So there you go, not quite 30 seconds, I don't think, but there you go. It'd be quite fun to do like a swap, you know, in the old days. I meant to have this light on, by the way, sorry. I meant to have that on so you could see me. You probably haven't seen the thing in this video, but never mind, I forgot I've got to have that on, otherwise you won't see me in the dark, so I'll leave it on for a bit. Sorry about that. I'll have to film a bit about that and add it in. Never mind. And I know that camera's not great for the dark, it's quite an old camera. It'd be nice to do a swap with someone in America. If I go there and stay at theirs, I did this years ago. I go and stay at theirs and we do something there, and then they come here and we do something in England. Doesn't have to be spooky, but I did like a swap. We kind of swapped. They never ended up coming over here. I went there 3 times and they never made it over here because they were moving house. But yeah, I had a great time in San Francisco 3 times. So This reminds me when I first passed my driving test. I used to think you had to drive with the lights with the lights on inside the car, and I used to drive everywhere with these lights on until people were waving at me like, what are you doing? You can have them on, but I used to turn these lights on instead of the headlights thinking people could see me. Yeah, I've come a long way from that to being a driving instructor. I remember that was on a foggy road on the way to what's now a test centre. Yeah, I remember that happening. I was driving down, my lights on, the people were blasting the horn saying, get your lights on. Yeah, and the factory I worked in, this woman was screaming at me, get your lights on, when I drove past. I've come a long way since then. That was what, 98, 99, yeah, but 14 years ago. So we're now coming to the end of the road. I'm going to turn right to turn the lights off, so I don't look like I'm a taxi or anything. But I hope you can see me. I've got, for those of you into photography, I've got the ISO bumped right up to 6400. I've got the exposure value compensation bumped up because I'm into photography. I've done all I can to get as much light to that camera as I can in the lens. Sorry, I forgot to turn the light on. So I'll leave it there for today. I'm going to head back to the hotel. I'm going to fill up the car with fuel again. There's a fuel station right next to the hotel. And I will see you tomorrow for the final part of the investigation on this special day. So what is so special about it? Where are we going? See you tomorrow and you'll find out. Hello and welcome back to this special day. So first of all, again, sorry about the bad video quality, if it is bad. As you can tell, it's still very, very dark and gloomy. It is actually 8:30 in the morning, but it looks like 8:30 at night. And again, I've got to put the fog lights on. So I've just had to pull over and change the video settings to night time again from daytime. Anyway, what's so special about today? Because I've been teasing you about this for a while. Well, today is Friday the 13th of October 2023. So not only is it Friday the 13th and there's a sheep crossing the road, but it's also only 2 weeks roughly to Halloween. So what time better to come and investigate the legend of hairy hands? And I have been waiting to do this for 6 years. I've said this earlier in the video, I think. 6 years ago, and we'll get to the spooky stuff in a moment. 6 years ago in 2017, I was moving house, and it was Friday the 13th in October. And I do vaguely remember thinking, oh, this would be a great time, because that's when I first heard the story. I thought it'd be a great time to go and investigate that. But because I just moved house, I didn't have the time or the money. And I've waited 6 years for this day. Not specifically, I haven't been counting down the days, but every year I've said I'm going to do it, and I've finally got to doing it. So anyway, here we are. So we're going to be turning right in about 2.4 miles. I'm being very careful. There's horses and calves, whatever, ponies running around all over the place. So I'm keeping my speed down. If I pause, I'm just concentrating on my driving rather than my talking. But yeah, so we're going to turn right. We're going to go past Dartmoor prison. And if you want to see these videos, I did make 2 special videos last night. One before and one after. I've already mentioned this. The nighttime investigation one. And this was, I'd say, one of the most challenging roads I've ever driven. It was dark, it was raining, it was foggy. We had to do a lot of what you call drive it to the offside. This is the offside of your car to keep it to the right. There's tons of brick walls on the left, parked cars. There's a road back there. It was very, very narrow. It was horrible. Very challenging drive. It's quite fun for me being a driving instructor, but quite challenging. So yeah, we're going to go past Dartmoor prison. It's quite funny. There have been people I've seen leaving reviews of prisons. Not this one, but there's one in Birmingham, I think. People are leaving reviews saying, 1 star, I can't get out, I hate it. Yeah, supposedly the inmates of the prison leaving Google reviews. There are sheep in the road. and we're going to be turning right soon. So yeah, I didn't have a great night's sleep unfortunately because it was so stormy. The bed was lovely and comfortable, great mattress, but I think I only went to sleep about midnight, woke up at 2, went back to sleep about 4, woke up about 6:30, because it was so windy, there was alarms going off, and it was just, yeah, very, very windy and stormy. So I'm just watching what I'm doing here. It's very foggy. I thought I'd film this because this whole area is where Hairy Hands haunts. So it's a hypnotist hunting hairy hands at Halloween. So it's going to call the video that, but it's a bit too much alliteration. Anyway, so I'll tell you a few of the stories, but I will put links in the description to other videos that have done a good job of telling you the story. I couldn't find anyone who'd actually driven this. Maybe there are some, but I couldn't find any videos of anyone who'd actually driven this road or these roads. So this whole area is where the legend happens. One of the stories was about an army officer, I don't know if he was a captain or officer, I don't know, and he was pulled off the road by his hairy hands, and he said he actually saw them, as I mentioned last night. You do actually see the hands, they're not just invisible. And I'm going to tell you now how to get rid of hairy hands. This is what the legend says. People who have seen sorry, I'm having to talk quite loud because otherwise the microphone won't pick it up, and it kind of makes me cough. So the legend says that the way you get rid of hairy hands and save yourself from him is to make the sign of a cross. And there was one case where a woman claimed she saw the hands in the car and her husband was driving, and she made the sign of a cross and he went. Now I'm not going to say what I think about that. I'm keeping this as open-minded as I can, but what do you think? Is that true or is that nonsense? And how are you supposed to make the sign of a cross if your hands are stuck to the steering wheel? I don't know, but this fog is terrible. I don't know if you'll see much on either camera, but I have just pulled over and bumped that camera up to nighttime mode. I actually had a thing come on the screen here on the way. Remember those chimes we heard last time? It's going bing bing. I've only seen it once before, and it said front camera obstructed, wind clear screen or something. Front camera view obstructed, I think it was. So I had to pull out, and when I changed the camera, so I can't even see the road here, I'm being careful. This is the road. So it's very hard to see where I'm going. This is the road, yeah, it's just really hard to even see the road, it's terrible. Yeah, this thing on the screen said, you know, clean the camera, so I got out, put the camera up to nighttime mode again, and cleaned the camera that reads the signs, because this car's got a camera that reads the signs. So there was that story about the army officer. There was the one about the author, who I think is the one who he had his car put into a ditch and he didn't want anyone knowing, so he said not to tell anyone till after he died. The most tragic story was the person who died. I can't remember exactly what the story was. I don't know how people know about that. I think, if I remember, there was a passenger who said they saw the hands appear, and the driver died and the passenger survived. So I'll not make it light to this. I know I've been having a bit of a laugh and that, but it is serious because people have died around here, and I can see why. You wouldn't want to meet someone coming the other way. This is really narrow. But this comes down to a little village called Princetown. Police notice, no stopping on this road. Not surprised. Sometimes they say polite notice, but I've said police notice. So we're going to a little village called Princetown, and you come out there and end up in the middle of nowhere, a bit like we were back there. I really didn't expect that to be there. I looked at this quickly on the map and I thought it was all over this way. So a bit of a short drive today. I was going to drive back, welcome to Princetown, down that road again, but I thought no point because we've been on that road twice before, the one I did yesterday. So I'm sticking to the new roads, and this is where it happens all around here. Like I say, a bit of a turbo tour, a whistle stop tour. I always just call it a turbo tour. I've only been here for one night. I got here 12 yesterday. I had an early check-in at the hotel, and I've left the hotel now. And I'm just going to do this and then head home. So very foggy. Only half a mile to go, then we're in Princetown. I think there's a roundabout, just from memory on the map. I haven't been here before. I'm going to go down to a little place where, according to Google Maps, it's a bus stop, and there is a bus that comes. It was something like 7:48 in the morning, 9:48, and then you can't see a thing here. And then the next one comes about 1:50 in the afternoon, and that's the bus service round here. 3 buses a day, 2 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. Yeah, don't forget everyone, give up your car and use public transport. I don't think it's going to work around here. So yeah, it's a bit like a bus stop in the middle of nowhere. It's not really a bus stop, it's more like a crescent, like a terminus. It's so dark though, I hope you can see something on the cameras. You should be able, well, you will be able to hear me okay, because I've got this external microphone on. Whoop, kid on a scooter there, good thing we're going slow. Yeah, kids on scooters with the fog don't really mix together. Really bad view, terrible view. You can see all the speed bumps are here. What a grim place to live. I'm sorry if you live here, but what a grim place. God, you thought Birmingham was bad. Look at this. God, how depressing. I mean, it's a lovely place, lovely little village. But it is really hard to see anything. So we're only going to go about 1.3 miles up here, and this is where it happens. This is where, I can't remember which of the stories it was. I think it was the army officer. His story was the other way, where we were yesterday. This is more, this is where it happens. And you can see why, I mean, look, you can see why people come off the road here, come on. I mean, there's a bike, is it coming towards me? Yeah, you can see the lights, they're going quite slowly. I mean, you can see this is probably the worst fog I've ever driven in. I'm going really slow, and I can just see on the screen the stand-up's helping a lot. I've pinpointed roughly where we're going, but this is where it happens, and yeah, you can see why people crash. I've got the fog lights on front and rear. I'm going to get this down this road and then turn around in a mile roughly. I haven't got Google Maps on here because what I like to do is plan my route in a hotel room or at home, and you can actually plug your phone into this car with a USB cable, and it comes up with Google Maps on the screen, which is good. But I don't like it so much because I find the angle's weird. I mean, it's in a car, Google Maps. The angle looks off. I don't know if you can change it. I know you can change some of the settings. You can have it top down or like the 45-degree angle, but it looks off to me. It just doesn't look right at all. But I'll do a video on that in the future about using that. Let me know if you want to see that. I am keeping this video as much on hairy hands as I can, but there isn't a lot to say apart from, like I said, he appears and you see his hands on your hands apparently. And this is fairly close to summer. We're still having quite good weather, and the weather is awful. I would not want to be coming over here in the middle of winter. That would be even worse with snow, slow cattle crossing. But you can imagine, you know, the story of hairy hands coming through here. There's no one around at all. I'm going to turn around in a bit. I don't know if I'm going to get the right place because I can't see much at all. So I'm skipping down to about 30 miles an hour. But somewhere around here there is like a big crescent you can turn around in. And it's the kind of place they're going to have to build electric vehicle charging points. Can you imagine having an electric vehicle charging point here? Well, that's what it's going to have to be if everyone has electric. I'm not for or against them, it's just I think it's a bit earlier to have one. So yeah, this is where I pinpointed. It's somewhere around here. I'm not going to be able to find the exact place probably, but I'll put a link in the description. There'll be lots of links. Is that it? No, they put boulders at the entrance there. I remember seeing that, and I think it's not too far from here. Yeah, no, it's telling me, it's guiding me home now. I've set it to go home after that point. But I'm going to turn around and go back up through Princetown. Because I'm not sure which way this is going to take me exactly. But I'm going to turn around in a moment when I can, just looking for a place to turn around. Because I want to go back up and come out by 2 bridges. Okay, so I just turned around, I found a little lay-by, I had to pull in and just spin around. And I'm now going back towards Princetown. This is just where I said I was going home. I just turned in a little turn around there. And I'm now going to start heading home, but the video's not finished yet. And I don't know if anything has happened, because like I say, maybe something weird's happened with the audio, the video. You just don't know till you get home and watch this stuff back. Because I think I mentioned yesterday, I can't remember, I've said so many things. I used to run a paranormal investigation company for a very short time. And you can't always see these things with your eyes, but cameras pick stuff up that your eyes can't see sometimes. So, before we get to the end of the video, I would like to say please do give this video a like and leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this and what I've done. I have put a lot of effort into this video. I've travelled hundreds of miles. I've spent a night in a hotel. I've driven up and down the road with a killer ghost. So it would mean a lot to me if you can just hit that thumbs up button. I don't often ask that, but it's just nice if people at least do that as a small favour. It doesn't cost you anything, but it means a lot to me. So would you like to see more videos like this? I know I'm sorry I haven't spoken much about Hairy Hands himself. But like I say, there's not an awful lot to say. There's quite little information about him. Interesting story. I actually found the story of Hairy Hands. I'm pretty sure it was on a channel which I'll link to if I can find it. It's a channel called Weird World, and it's an Australian man and his wife who run it. And interestingly, that's how I became a hypnotherapist, because of one of their videos. That started my whole career in hypnotherapy. That's a story I'll tell another day. But I'm sure it was Weird World had this story about Hairy Hands. I probably won't be able to find it because I've watched quite a few of their videos. But they do all kind of videos on ghosts and time slips and unexplained stuff. Wouldn't it be great now if Hairy Hands appeared? And then we also ran into a werewolf, and then a UFO came and abducted me, and I got it all on the cameras. So in case you're wondering, people might think, well, isn't this a bit silly driving, hoping a ghost is going to make you crash? Well, I mean, come on, let's be serious, right? Do I believe this legend? I think there's some truth to it, but for me, there's too many things that don't add up. It's probably one of those things that over the years has grown and grown. I'm probably making it worse by making this video. I'm not saying it's false, but you can't really lose either way, can you? Because if nothing happens, nothing happens. And we don't really want to see me thrown off the road and killed, right? But if it did happen, just think of the footage I have. I'd have the greatest footage ever, get millions of views, probably maybe famous. So yeah, I'm now heading towards the end of this road. I think this is Two Bridges Road. So if you do want to come and stay here, I'll put links again in the description if I remember. If I forget any of these links I've said, let me know in the comments, please. And I'll amend that. There's a little lawnmower or something out there to collect. But imagine living here. I mean, no disrespect to anyone that does, but can you imagine living in this? Miles away from anywhere, probably no internet, or landline, I don't know. What I said yesterday was quite good. Desolate, barren, isolated, having to drive miles to get anywhere. You know, I often say I'd like to move out of Birmingham, but I used to live in Cornwall for a very short time. I moved about 60 miles or so down the road from here, and I just couldn't stand it. It drove me nuts. It's great, the beautiful scenery. It's great to come here for a visit, but to live here, so I'm not coughing to be funny now, I just don't think I could live here. I always remember a driving test examiner, who's now an instructor. He was talking to a pupil once. I was in the back of the car on a driving test, and they were talking about New York in America. And I also remember him saying something stuck in my mind: nice place to visit, couldn't live there. No disrespect, but it's like a lot of places. Nice place to visit, I couldn't live there. I've been to New York, but I've never actually stopped there. I've just been through the airport. It's getting a bit brighter now. We're coming away from the mall. I'll leave the fog lights on for a little bit. If you want to see videos on fog lights and all that, do let me know. People join my channel for many different things, because it is mainly a driving channel, driving lessons and tests. But I also do driving anxiety, driving instructor help, driving hacks, like if your windows get stuck down, which happened to me today. If they get stuck, how to put them back up. If you start brakes in the car, how to fix that. So I do a wide variety of things. I don't do so much car videos as such. I don't review cars. I'm not so much into cars. Don't worry, do like I was saying yesterday. Yeah, not so much into cars and all that, and fast cars and all that kind of stuff. This is Two Bridges, and it's got light. Right, suddenly got really light. So I'll turn the fog lights off. I have to lean over to do that. And I'm going to go right. This is the road I mentioned in the first video, I think, where I said we'll be going down there in a bit. But the window, yeah, I know where we are now. But I've not been further along this road. So, this is the Two Bridges Hotel. Lovely hotel. I've not been in there, it looks nice. And there is one bridge there. I'm guessing there's another bridge here. That's why it's called Two Bridges. I think this is where, I might have read this wrong, but I think it's where the King of England many years ago, not the current one, years and years and years ago, crossed the river, but he fell in or something, called his carriage fell in the river or something, so he ordered two bridges to be built, something like that. That's the road we went on yesterday. So goodbye, hairy hands. That's the end of our investigation for now. Just about, because I'm just about losing my voice. So yeah, some temporary roadworks here. Don't expect to get roadworks in a place like this. So there's a road sign, there's a traffic light that means to stop. We'll end the video here. So check out my other videos on the screen now. For more videos from me, do remember to please like and comment on this video. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you again soon for more videos.